Dan Patrick, the Republican lieutenant governor of the state of Texas, is furious over the fact that Donald Trump has been barred from the primary and presidential ballots in the state of Colorado. So during an interview with Fox News host Laura Ingram this week, Patrick actually suggests that maybe it's time to fight fire with fire, and maybe the state of Texas will kick Joe Biden off the 2024 ballot. Because apparently Dan Patrick has no idea why Donald Trump was actually kicked off the ballot. But here is what Patrick said. Seeing what happened in Colorado makes me think, except we believe in democracy in Texas, unless you're a woman or a member of the LGBTQ community, right, Dan? Maybe we should take Joe Biden off the ballot in Texas for allowing 8 million people to cross the border since he's been president, disrupting our state. So, because immigrants are coming into this country across the southern border, you want to ban Joe Biden from being on the ballot. Okay. Well, let's look at that. In order to do that, obviously, you would have to use the 14th Amendment, the insurrection clause, which is what they used in the state of Colorado. And you would have to determine that these people that came across the border actually engaged in an insurrection. And then, once you meet that threshold, which you can't meet because none of those people actually engaged in an insurrection, so your case is already dead on arrival. But let's assume you could prove these people engaged in an insurrection. Can you show me where President Biden has said, open the borders and let these people in? No, you can't. And for the record, that's actually the number one argument that you need to be using. You know, I know we got holidays coming up. You're going to have family around, probably some family members you may not like or agree with. If any of them bring it up, ask them to pull up a clip and show you where President Biden has said, open the borders, let all these people in. If they can't do that, ask them to point to the policy that allows it, because no such policy exists. We're actually having record numbers of deportations, record numbers of apprehension, record numbers of drug seizures, and record numbers of terrorists being arrested. The Biden administration is doing everything Republicans have always wanted to do. They just weren't as successful with it. So Dan Patrick is a damn liar, is what this is. But again, because you cannot point to Biden openly embracing people coming across the border, and because you cannot prove that any of these people, not a single one of them, have engaged in an insurrection, you don't have a legal case to remove President Biden from the ballot. But Dan Patrick doesn't care. Dan Patrick has no intention of removing President Biden from the ballot. All he's trying to do is get his stupid little face on TV saying these outrageous and controversial things because, one, he wants to avenge Donald Trump, and so he's trying to give payback to Biden, and two, he wants to suck up to this MAGA Republican anti-immigrant Biden-hating base because he ain't done with politics. I'm sure Dan Patrick has bigger political ambitions on the horizon. Maybe he wants to not just be lieutenant governor of Texas, but maybe governor of Texas. Hell, maybe a senator one day. Maybe even president of the United States. So he has to say stupid stuff. He has to say stuff that he knows he can't do because that's what the base expects. Say the dumbest stuff imaginable, get your face all over the news, get your name in the headlines, and then never worry about the fact that you have no intention of doing this because, hey, they're not going to call you out for not doing what you're saying you want to do, right? Maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's why conservatives always get off the hook for these promises that they never follow through on because they know they can't. It's because there's never the follow-up. There's never conservative media coming back and saying, well, wait a minute, you said you were going to do this, but you didn't. You're a liar. Maybe if they did that, maybe Republicans might think twice before saying the dumbest things you've ever heard on television.